Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. Happy 4th of July out there to everybody. My rights continue to be violated. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution is supposed to protect your writings to your writings and your discoveries. As you can see right here in this From Rhythm to Algorithm series, we have provided such clear and present value to the entirety of research. My rights continue to be violated profoundly and extensively. The Fifth Amendment is supposed to guarantee me rights, just compensation for private property use for public use, as well as simply free speech, the ability to speak against consensus, but this is a math proof and nobody's ever proven anything, and we're not going to go through all of that again. A simple legal citation to all those men and women out there fighting for our freedom. Where's mine, right? No brother left behind, if liberty and justice for all. Obviously, that's a total crock of shit and absolutely literally nobody cares. This country, along with every other country, is a clusterfuck of nothing, of a bunch of people clamoring over each other, trying to get one foot ahead of the next, and it's a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off. But as always, again, the severity of crimes being committed against me is so profound that I spend very little time on it, and we're just continuing to move through our derivation. My life quality is 0. I watch my parents age every day. I've lost the entirety of my portfolio in my property, as well as, and I will never have a family of myself. But we continue on with our derivation. What is censorality? What is the quality of censorship? What is a censor? Looking to establish a fundamental physical definition by direct iteration. What could a censor be by the consistency of the relation of the concept and the letter structure to the rest of ontology? And so we continue to move through our derivation. Tensionality is tonality. Again, the letters of tonality are contained within the word tensionality. Tension concentrates energy. And so concentration, centralization, direct iteration, just expanding our definition of tension. What is equilibrium to energy? What is displacement to energy? Last episode, this big relationship, fundamental physical things, tension and energy. We have this inversion, tension is sension. We changed the elemental slot, the T and the S. That's what we explored last episode, just some leftover identities from editing that piece. Censorality is ordinality, natural definition, direct iteration. We've definitely hit that explicit step before, but now emphasizing, right, we iterated censorality by a single chunk of consonants, OD, to produce sensodorality, which is our linguistic and conceptual containment. What is odor to orality is not clear containment, but sensodorality contains sensorality very clearly linguistically. And so, emphasizing, we've said sensorality is ordinality for sure previously. What episode, I couldn't tell you. There's a bunch of them, but emphasizing that OD consonants of direct iteration. What is scathing to scratching? Fluency is influential. Influential is impactful. Again, connecting to this big fundamental theorem of physics. What is a collision? An exchange of momentum. What is a collision? And impact. And then the elementality of that word form is similar, or again, a direct iteration of influential. Influential is impactful. Sensorality is a change in direction. So again, acceleration, a change in velocity, a change in direction. Definitions are unique. Acceleration, a change in velocity. Sensorality, a change in direction. Sensorality is the direction of charge. Natural definition, direct iteration. Restating the fundamental theorem of emotion, liability causes dissonance, right? Lying to people causes literally cognitive dissonance. Lying gaslights. And so another, as we've highlighted historically, both what is energy, movement potential, but then the historical evidence of not being understood. We have this fundamental uniqueness, identity. It is what it is. Energy is energy. And we can see that historical, not proper conceptual understanding of Gibbs free energy, potential kinetic energy, dark energy, E equals mc squared. Nope, people just don't know what energy is, and they're well defined. And so we have that same thing with light, right? What is light to gaslight? Sensorality slights, direct iteration. Sensorality is ordinary odor. Natural definition, direct iteration. Re-emphasizing the fundamental theorem of emotion that we just stated, liability causes dissonance. Again, the natural definition of liability, the ability to lie, but liability carrying a clear legal context to it. But overall, psychologically, sociologically, as a human being, lying causes dissonance, is our most general thing we can say about emotion, right? Literally, insecurity being passed, lying being passed, gaslighting, judgment is a measurable physical quantity. Sensorality discharges dissonance. Does discharge disconnect? Distribution discharges. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is development. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is development to deployment? Evolution is development. Developmentality evolves. Sensorality elopes. Does slope elope? Sensorality elopes to the slopes. An elopement is a retreat. Elopement element. Obviously the connotation, elopement, run away to get married, but retreat to get married. Direct conceptual mapping, and an elopement is a retreat. What is ignorance to liability? Well, I didn't know, bro. I'm not liable. Not my responsibility. He didn't. I didn't even know. Sensorality is bondability. Bonds bind. A bond is a connection. What is a bond to a boundary? Is a boundary a limit? Does inversion bound? Is a bond a bind? Yeah, we said bonds bind. What is inversion to invention? What is invention to convention? Sensorality is conventionality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Unexpected is unconventional. Again, speciality right now, unexpected behavior, because again, we have to make this fundamental differentiation of both our linguistic progress and our conceptual progress, which has to be from sensorality, and then our finalizing linguistic thing, again, to this vibration. We'll get there directly, but just unexpected behavior is special, unexpected is unconventional, a direct expansion and progression of that operative word from our fundamental theorem of speciality. And what is speciality? Unexpected behavior, unconventional behavior. Sensorality is unconventionality. Again, sensorality contains speciality, and it's all this big linguistic progression and consequence of the singular conceptual progress of the whole species. Is vibration conventional? Is invitational conventional? What is conversation to convention? Sensorality is conventional conversation. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is convention to contention? Sensorality does. Direct iteration. What does deodorant do? Direct iteration. Sensorality is censorship ability. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is shipability. Again, previously we've emphasized words that end in ship. Emphasizing that again, shipability. Is shippable mobile? Sensorality is a futile refute. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is fertility futile? Futile is not fertile. Is fertility plentiful? Sensorality is painful. What is pain to soreness? Is soreness sensational? Again, sensorality. We have orality as a complete word in conceptualization. We have sense as not a complete linguistic representation, but the complete phonetic. We have sore, the complete phonetic, but not the complete linguistic. We have to differentiate sensorality completely to have our next, again, complete sensorality, the syllability that we can, produce our definition, and then again have the leftover letters be the word form, word structure of the next derivation. That's how we got to sensorality in the first place. Is throbbing vibrating? What is soreness to throbbing? Soreness throbs. Sensorality throbs. Now take a moment, can you, the audience member, can you name 2 or 3 things that throb? Do orbs throb? Direct iteration, does throbbing pulse? What is throbbing to robbing? What is robbery to burglary? Burglary is another one of the words like maintenance, where it's just like, you hear the phonetic, you see the letters, I'm a natural English speaker, I think, what the fuck is that? And then people, again, you see that naturally like emphasized when people say like, somebody did the burglars or burgling or something. Like there's a natural, people like mess with this word because of this, again, syllability. What is distress to duress? Is tension stressful? Is tension distressing? Sensorality stresses. Direct iteration, what is tension to torsion? Sensorality is torsionality. Is torsion ionic? Sensorality is iconicality. Fundamental theorem of geometry, sensorality is conicality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is iconic classic? Is class classic? Sensorality is classicality. Is basic classic? Is classic chronic? What is vibration to synchronicity? Again, this phonetic linguistic pairing of chronic, a word we say a lot, we've emphasized it a lot explicitly multiple times. Synchronicity, same thing, said it a lot explicitly, naturally in this series. But what is the phonetic synchronicity to chronic? It's a noticeable phonetic change. What is vibration to timing? Is synchronicity continuous? Synchronicity maximizes efficiency. Does synchronicity synergize? Is synergy continuous? Does ordinality iterate? Sensorality changes places. Direct iterations, hey bro, change places with me. Let's switch positions. Does position rotate? Still, I would say, again, what overall, physically, charge is still something, light is still something, again, unresolved in this logical progression of sensorality, as well as what is continuous. Mathematically, logically, physically, in space, no thing is continuous. What is continuosity mathematically? Sensorality is a placid place. Natural definition, direct iteration. Subtle is inconspicuous. Sensorality is innocuous. Is innocence innocuous? Direct iteration. Sensorality is innocuosity. Sensorality is innocence. Sensorality is a sense of innocence. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is confidence to innocence? Conscious, science, is prescient. Science is prescient. Natural definition, direct iteration. Generalizing again, sensorality is prescientiality. Natural definition, direct iteration, so we get that scientiality again from efficientiality. It's kind of this, it's worth pointing out. Prescientiality is scientific. Natural definition, direct iteration. Again, the phonetic changes, but you can see that big chunk of scientia, science, directly in there. Is fundamentality centralized? Is centralized sensorized? What is discipline to censorship? Sensorality is craftsmanship. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is craftsmanship to censorship? What is jurisdiction to domain? Is jurisdiction judgmental? What is naturalization to realization? What is polarization to naturalization? Planning is prioritizing. Sensorality is present. Sensorality is presence. Sensorality is presentiality. Generalization of presence. Is present prescient? Is prescience precious? Another one just popped in my head, and it goes so quick, and like a new one popped up, and I just lost it. Stinks. Sensorality is precious. Sensorality is preciosity. What is preciosity to precariosity? Is curiosity precious? But I guess I was going to say sensorality is a sense of prescientiality or presentiality. Just again, presence generalized. A sense of presence. But now, again, if we take precious and then we iterate that O, generalize it to the A again, remember, if we go closer to the front of the alphabet, reverse ordinality, we get generalization. Again, that's kind of an overall analytical conjecture. Again, we've already demonstrated complete analysis and complete conceptual progress, so there's no point to even like talk about those stuff, but presenting this as novelly and with all of the nuance that I possibly can. But now we get to this direct iteration from the word precious. Sensorality is preciality. Remember, speciality is special with an ity. Sensorality is this fundamental differentiation of speciality, conceptually and linguistically. And now this is direct iteration. Again, we've been through it. Again, we're at this, for the past several months, we've been directly through when we said, hey, this is where we completely derive speciality again. Now that's, again, another final reduction where, again, we're completely outside of axiomatization. It's just this fundamental association of letter to conceptualization, and then the geometry, the shapes of the letters is the finalizing proof. Sensorality with an S versus, or sensor with an S versus sensor with a C. But sensorality is preciality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Precious is special. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is metal special? Preciality is appreciation. And you should be able to feel and hear that preservation of pronunciation, preservation of phonetic, that irreducibility of sound. Appreciation is preciality. Preciality appreciates. And now, appreciation, fundamental theorem of emotion, appreciation is special. Natural definition, direct iteration, emphasizing you're literally just modifying the consonants. That ECIA in special and appreciation is literally the exact same. Same letters, same sounds, same thing. It is what it is. Appreciation is special. Fundamental theorem of emotion. Now, sensorality contains that. Sensorality is appreciationality. What is appreciationality to sensodorality? Sensorality appreciates odor. Again, back to sensodorality being the thing that contains sensorality. We have to complete an entire conceptual basis in associated linguistics, which is a set with a bigger infinity than the infinity of numbers actually, literally, provably. And we're almost there again. But again, highlighting every single step of exactly where we're at. But we don't have to remember any of this. Luckily for you and for everybody else, it all gets contained, it all gets reduced, and it'll just be a simple linguistic statement, clear conceptualization, fundamental differentiation, proven by spelling. But emphasizing every single step along the way. Species appreciate. Is appreciation growth? What is exponential growth to appreciation? If my stock appreciates, is that exponential growth? What is exponentiation to appreciation? Still have to go from rhythm to algorithm somehow. But again, the structure of this from rhythm to algorithm was produced by the derivation of speciality, as we've said multiple times. Is appreciation growth? Is appreciation thankful? Sensorality approaches appreciation. Direct iteration. Sensorality is the reach of appreciation. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is generosity to appreciation? So again, all we're doing is just showing this explicit conceptualization, progression, linguistic containment, because again, this finalizing thing is not a special step. It'll just be like every other step. But it will completely describe a concept. What is special? The natural tendency to differentiate for sexual antagonism. What is sensorality? And then again, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. We have that kind of syllogism. Linguistically, the direct iteration is showing that syllability, syllogism. A is to B, B is to C, A equals C. But the conceptualization, what is a sensor? Again, we already have the quality of what we're accomplishing. Pressure pushes, direct iteration, gravity pulls. So again, we've completely solved energy. We've completely solved everything. We've completely solved the entire conceptualization, but emphasizing where we're at with gravity. Again, direct linguistic iteration of viscosity, conceptually resistance to movement, but it's an attractive force, right? Attraction pulls. What is attraction to appreciation? But again, truly the linguistic and conceptualization of gravity, the motivation to say, again, I just watched Sean Carroll again at the end of this New Scientist video, which Sean Carroll is a criminal, throw him in jail. But still saying, again, this whole motivation of we need to find gravity as a particle, and you can't even model light as a particle. Particle theory is completely wrong. And it's just committing fraud in this the most direct way possible. But gravity it's never been a force. Force being conceptualized outside of pressure is trying to break irreducibility. It doesn't logically work. I mean, there's so many big fundamental problems in physics where it's just like, here's the right answer. The right answer's been here. Sean Carroll's known this for 10 years. Why do we continue to lie? But still, where we're at with this derivation of sensorality, gravity pulls, right? We have this resistance to motion, but this historical progression of the association of the word gravity to an attractive force, which is the fundamental quote-unquote difference of all of the other forces. Well, really the strength and the pure attraction of it. But again, this whole particles and forces is not a fundamental dichotomy, right? You have vibration, you have rhythm, you have things moving, you have discreteness, you have power, you have work, you have energy. You have viscosity. You don't have this fundamental difference of particle and wave. Everything is connected, nothing is touching. But what is gravity to pressure? What is entropy to gravity? Is gravity ordinal? But again, really what we're doing here is we're completing and containing the linguistics. The conceptualization of gravity, you literally just think the word viscosity. It is a direct linguistic iteration, and there is some conceptual left over of, again, why is gravity attractive? But really, like, why does tension centralize energy? Why do you condense or centralize, right? Is that attraction? Is tense attractive? It's not a complete ontology. And so emphasizing that again, what is gravity is another one of these big questions that seems like a big thing in physics, and it's just not. Right? Why is time is an illusion is another one of these big physical properties that's not confusing, conceptualization that's not any way confusing, but then people say time is illusion. We have space, space-time, right? Clear word salad. It's just an amalgamation of nothing fundamental. And so it's just like, but again, we have solved physics. We have unified physics. We have completed Langland's program. We have shown the complete logical structure that is present with language. Fundamental theorem of logic, ordinal is oral. Directly, literally, natural definition, direct iteration. Because our order of history is oral tradition. But emphasizing the linguistics and the logical implications, ordinality is orality, directly, literally. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is energy ordinal? Is movement potential ordinary? So again, still none of the questions, they might have real fundamental answers, they might not. It's the progression of the logical structure to, again, get this completeness. If we just minimize the extrapolation of our linguistic structure, we literally have to be able to answer something completely, unless again you started the incomplete conceptualization of the human species over and the associated linguistic progression, the association of letter to conceptualization, which we've already done. We've already done this whole process, can't emphasize that enough. And so there's no, again, like big theoretical questions. Over all of this, language is directly literal. We just have to get our concepts in the right order. The letters will be trivial, it will all reduce, and we'll just have a clear-cut conceptualization of what a sensor is, directly proven by the reduction of linguistics. So my rights continue to be violated. Again, it is profoundly and extensively illegal. I continue to beg for a little bit of money to eat properly, to sleep properly, and to work. I am being persecuted for scientific discovery by the government. I am seeking asylum. That is what I have for now. Thank you for your great service, all of those service members and women, as I sit here again as the person who's negotiated the most important truce in the history of Earth, and I've never been paid a single penny. I don't have proper health care. I cannot eat properly. I cannot sleep properly. I will never have a family. And I'm a big loser at my parents' house, but I'm also the most accomplished scientist in human history, and it will never change indefinitely into the future. That is what I have for tonight. I continue to ask for a little bit of money. Why not give me $100 million of my own money? Or 100,000 or a million, or just give me my money. Give me my money, this great country of shit. No one cares. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.